Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the No Games podcast with me, Bubz, and my very good friend, Jaden Jesse. How you doing, Jaden?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Let's be honest. I'm a little buzzed. You had some comments about my damn peanut butter whiskey.
Oh, my guy. Yeah, no, seriously. Like I was saying earlier, I don't like to drink shame, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't get it. Like, how do those? I mean, I'm not a whiskey person in general, but how do those two flavor profiles work together? I'm curious.
Dude, you'd be surprised. I mean, and especially this one that I got is like, it's not overly sweet, but it basically tastes like some just nice whiskey with like roasted peanut flavor.
Yeah, you're not selling it. You're not selling me on it, my guy.
Well, fuck me, then, all right?
You're just making. You're just turning the name of the drink more verbose, like.
All right. Well, I drink Fireball too, okay, and I like Fireball.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so your taste buds are already just wrecked from Fireball.
Hey, that's racist, okay? Is it because I'm half Indian? Is that what it is? Okay.
Your words, not mine, my guy. Your words, not mine.
Hey, I like it spicy. Okay, I like it spicy.
To be fair, though, I'm also not a cinnamon person.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fair.
that probably plays it. But yeah, believe it or not, okay, this will sound like sacrilege to most people listening. I am from Scotland originally, and I do not drink whiskey.
What?
Especially not Scotch. All I'm going to say.
I don't know you anymore.
I think one of the nicest. I think one of the only whiskeys I've ever been able to palate was one from Kentucky. It wasn't a bourbon, despite being from Kentucky. It wasn't bourbon, but it was somebody else that gave me a dram, and so I don't know how much it was. But he did all he told me is that it had a pretty big price tag. So that probably played a role in how smooth it was, for sure.
Well, that's the funny thing. I don't usually like normal. Like I don't like Jack Daniels that much.
Oh no, I think it's massively overrated.
Absolutely, and I don't really like Jim Beam either. Jim Beam bourbon, I'm not really that big of a fan. Honestly, if I got to say anything, like when it comes to straight, I think I like rum better than like whiskey or bourbon. To be honest,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I went through a bit of a gin phase a few years ago, because I don't know what it's like in Australia, but in the UK, especially in Scotland, gin the craft gin market just kind of really got off the ground. It kind of almost gained equal footing with the craft beer market. It was kind of all the rage for a while. So.
Oh yeah, no, there's a huge gin distillery like 40 minutes from my place. Like
Gotcha.
They set up everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm curious now. I got a question for you about whiskey, particularly imports over there. I might just be making assumptions, but based on the fact that Japan actually has a really big whiskey industry, and I know that Australia does a lot of trade with Asia.
Yeah.
Do you see a lot of Japanese whiskey brands over there?
Yes. So honestly, we see a lot of Japanese alcohol brands quite a lot, to be honest. One of the biggest alcohols over here at the moment, which might be big in the US too, is minus 196, I think it's called.
Doesn't ring a bell. What is it?
It's basically what is it? It's like lemon flavored or something. It's like a lemon flavored seltzer water, I think.
Oh, okay. I mean, the biggest seltzers over here are Truly and
White Claw.
What is it? Truly and like Mike's Hard Lemonade and shit like that.
White Claw.
White Claw. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Don't get me fucking started.
Oh yeah, they've started to become popular over here, and I tried them for a little while, especially when I went on a diet and I was trying to do low calorie, and it didn't go well. I didn't like it very much, but I drank it anyway.
Yeah, I tend to stick to beer.
Yeah,
just beer.
That's fair.
Basic as hell.
What kind of beer do you drink there?
Again, basic as hell. I'm an IPA guy.
Okay.
Yeah. When I first started drinking, when I was 18, I was I mostly stuck to the lagers. But yeah, I kind of diversified my taste a little bit. I'd take an ale over a lager any day now, especially an IPA. And if we're narrowing it down even further, something hazy. Love haze.
Yeah, fair. For me, if you hand me a bottle of Corona and I'm good.
After the last couple of years, I'm surprised to hear you say that. Did you know that their sales actually tanked during the pandemic, which is funny as hell?
Yeah, yeah. Well, one good thing is that there's one beer that's actually from the Northern Territory that's come out here that tastes pretty much exactly like Corona, and it's a bit cheaper too. So I tend to get that because Corona's like $60 a case here. So
what?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Everything's expensive here though. Fucking taxes. All right.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one of the nice things about living in Texas is there's no state tax.
Yes. But
which is ironic because Texas is an anagram of taxes. But we don't like taxes. So
well, I mean, we have this is a conversation for another podcast, but we have pretty decent government funded healthcare. So yes.
Yeah, coming from the UK, I'm kind of in your camp there, buddy.
Yes.
But that's a story for another time.
Absolutely.
Maybe after a few Coronas. So I wanted to talk to you for a little bit. It's going to be a bit of a shorter one, just for those listening. But I wanted to talk to you today about social media. Specifically, I mean, we spoke in the last episode a little bit about how language is used as a tool. So today I wanted to kind of focus on social media as a tool, as part of as part of the internet being used as a tool, more broadly speaking. And specifically, do you think that it's been more of a net good or a net bad for the world, I guess? I have a lot to say about this because I think like anybody else, I've had a lot of very not so favorable experiences through social media that I continue to have through, but we can get into that. But likewise, I met my now wife because of platforms like Facebook and YouTube, and specifically the community, more social and the more social aspects of those platforms.
Whoa, yay for love.
Yeah,
love wins.
Love wins. Yeah, unless you're on Twitter.
Oh god.
Which is, X. By the way, that's another thing, dude. Nobody's gonna call it X.
Yeah, no,
except for Elon.
Definitely not. But
nobody's gonna call it X. Nobody's gonna say reposts. It's always gonna be retweets. Like, how do you? I don't know. I don't know what. Anyway,
it's fucking Elon Musk. But anyway, one thing I did want to say is there is love on Twitter. Okay, one time I saw a guy make love to a McChicken. Okay.
So, to be fair, that's something I'd expect more on Reddit, but sure, go off.
Yeah, no, it went viral on Twitter. Like, I think it was like 5 years ago of like literally just a guy fucking a McChicken.
Okay, extra mayo. Well, so
tasty. All right. Anyway,
that's a spicy McChicken.
Oh, that hurt.
So I guess I'll just start off by asking you, how big of a relationship do you have with social media? What platforms are you on? But like I'll reserve that question specifically for what platforms do you use on a daily basis?
Okay, well, on a daily basis, I think the only ones that I really use is, I mean, if you can really count it as a social media, but YouTube is probably the only one that I use on a daily basis.
Yeah, fair.
I went through a phase where I was heavily addicted to TikTok. And luckily,
everybody did.
Yes. Everybody goes through that phase when they first download it and they just scroll mindlessly. But, luckily I kind of broke out of that after a while and I haven't really gone back. Pretty much the only time I scroll through TikTok is probably when I'm pooping. So,
Thank you for that information.
Hey, I gotta do something, alright?
Okay. Staying on TikTok, I have deleted and reinstalled that app several times. thankfully I managed to stop entirely. I still have an account on TikTok. It's just that I just deleted the app off my phone. I don't use it. I haven't used it. I haven't used TikTok, and I would say nearly half a year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a while. By the way, I don't know if my camera is laggy on your end, but on my end, I'm super laggy.
Yes, so you. Okay, yes, you are lagging, and also I noticed the voice was kind of like going robotic. You're AI, aren't you? I knew it. Okay.
My cover's been blown.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's all.
How about now?
So yeah, it seems to be better. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
As long as it doesn't affect the audio too much, I think it should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It could be my internet.
Audio's the main thing.
I've been having bullshit problems with my internet. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah, well, you do live in Australia, so you guys aren't. Yeah. I feel sorry for you guys.
It's just either healthcare or internet. But anyway,
you can't have both.
Yes.
But no. So yeah, TikTok. I've been off TikTok for a while now. I am going to go as far as to say as TikTok has had absolutely zero benefits for the world whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I feel the only case you can make for TikTok having a benefit is you could say, obviously, you could make the argument that if you are a content creator of any kind, that it's another platform to advertise yourself, which fair enough. And obviously the influencers who are able to utilize the platform to make a living, fine. Yeah. Other than that, if you're the average person who's literally just using it to scroll, I fail to see, and you feel free to disagree with me, by the way, this is a discussion, but I fail to see absolutely any benefits to TikTok whatsoever. And one of the main reasons I came off TikTok was the amount of time I was wasting on it. Yep. But also, my wife just texted me. She's an avid TikTok user, so I can guarantee that she's, oh no, it wasn't about, okay. Anyway, so yeah, the amount of time I was wasting, and also the stuff that the algorithm was feeding me made me very, very suspicious about. And I do not have a conspiratorial mindset whatsoever, but the stuff that it was being fed to me made me seriously concerned about the intent behind the people programming these algorithms. Yep. Right? For example, in no time at all, literally within the space of 48 hours, I was finding my home feed my TikTok feed being clogged with, thankfully, very small accounts with very extreme political views on both sides of the spectrum, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I would watch one video about universal healthcare, and I'd go to sleep, and the next day I'd find myself being given videos from people who are literally calling for billionaires to be decapitated, like, unironically. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like, I just came on here to see some cute videos of dogs. Like,
well, dude, I hate to say it, though. I mean, you do live in Texas, and if I know anything about Texas, there are some interesting people around those parts.
It certainly makes for a lively political discussion. I'll say that much. Okay. But yeah, so that's my take on TikTok, to name one of the biggest, most current ones. What are your thoughts?
So that's the thing. I do see the benefits of TikTok in some ways, but I feel that the benefits that it has do not match up with how TikTok puts things out to people, and how they curate people's For You pages. Because I mean, to give a similar example to what you said, I mean, like, so my TikTok, my is probably based on my IP address, let's be honest. But you know, they know based on my searches that I like hip hop and I like music and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So one time I was just doom scrolling through Twitter, and then all I found was just a bunch of videos on conspiracy theories of how Tupac is still alive. Right. There you go. And I started to believe it for a little while, to be honest. I mean, There's one dude I think he lives in Cuba, and he performs, and he has similar mannerisms to Tupac as well, and looks kind of like how he may look now. But I started to believe it for a little while, but I don't think so. But that's the thing. Sorry,
I'm just gonna say I gotta say real quick, if Tupac is alive, but that guy's not Tupac, going back to our last episode, I would love it if we just see a Tupac lawsuit suing this guy for using the likeness of his image.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be formerly dead rapper Tupac is suing a Cuban man.
Everybody's like, hold up. Wait a minute, something ain't right.
Oh shit! Oh god, that would be hilarious. But
oh my god.
But so yeah, I do see the benefits in the ways of certain artists blow up on TikTok. There's someone I think don't quote me on this, but I think Easy Mill, who we spoke about in the last episode briefly, who just got signed by Eminem and Dr. Dre, I believe he had quite a big following on TikTok as well. At least a lot of views on TikTok. So that, in that sense, there is sort of some things that can be said in the ways of, putting people out there more in the public eye. But that's kind of all social media in a way.
Right. And that's what I was saying is from a self-promotion point of view, I think it's great. But as other than that, in terms of if you're just using it to consume content, I don't think it does us any good. And the other big thing is it's completely fucked our attention spans.
Yeah.
Up the ass. We do I personally don't think that it is beneficial or healthy for us to have access to that much content so easily. But also, there's something to be said about the particular short term format of those clips on TikTok that you don't get on YouTube. Sure, YouTube has YouTube Shorts, but it's still primarily used for full length videos, right? So
yeah, well, that's the thing. So TikTok, for the most part, gets marketed as a kind of almost a kid's app. But there are some really fucked up things on TikTok.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So for a while, I don't even know why, there was this dude that was coming up in my feed that basically all he did was talk about some of the craziest, most, stomach churning videos that are on TikTok, which there was videos of people being decapitated. There was videos of people being, R-worded. I don't know if we should use that word. I don't know. We used it a few times in the last episode, but there's just some of the most deplorable things that, of course, have been posted other places like Reddit and stuff like that.
Right.
But they've made their way to TikTok, and somehow TikTok either hasn't seen them or has seen them and doesn't get rid of them for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I feel like TikTok has a real challenge at its hands in terms of content moderation, because everything's so short. Again, because everything's short format on TikTok, I feel like it's much easier to increase the sheer volume of content on the app. On the platform, and when that happens, obviously the more content, the harder it becomes to moderate. But yeah, from a content moderation standpoint, I feel like TikTok has a pretty unique challenge on its hands. And like you said, it's almost, what the scary thing is, that it's almost marketed as a kids app. I think the minimum age for sign up was it 13? Last I checked.
Yeah, but like any social media, even if there is a minimum age, a lot of kids end up signing up early. They just lie about
it's
their
really
age.
easy to lie about your age on that. Yeah, it's that's what. So I don't know if you've seen, but I think it might just be a thing in the United States that they introduced recently.
Yeah.
a measure to, in their eyes, combat the amount of minors watching porn is whenever you go onto a porn website now, they're legally obliged to show a thing saying, "Are you 18?"
Yeah.
And you have to click yes or no. And it's like, who's clicking? Who's stopping and thinking, "You're right," and then clicking no, and then going about their day? Like,
yeah, it's just like you expect them to go into an existential crisis. Just like some kid goes to a porn site and it's just like, "Are you really 18? Oh my god, what am I doing with my life?
What am I doing with my life?" They throw their phone at the wall and like crawl into a corner and just start rocking back and forth. Yeah,
I'm gonna call my mum. Okay.
But the same thing happens on online alcohol vendors, right? A lot of websites that sell alcohol, a little banner that pops up in the US that says, "Are you 21 or older?" And I'm like, that's not a checkpoint, my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, crazy.
It's
Anyway.
just,
yeah. What are you saying?
I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. You go ahead. I might remember my point. So good.
Yeah, so that's TikTok. One of the other big ones I have major quarrels with. We're not going to get into Twitter today because I feel like that's just a cesspool. Like that. I mean, I have enough subject matter on Twitter for like 3 episodes. But the other big thing I wanted to get into was Facebook. Facebook's another one that I came off last year. I came off of Facebook last May. I made the decision to delete my account, and I feel like with a lot of social media, the sheer addictiveness of them, you kind of think what stops a lot of people from coming off them is, well, what if I miss someone or something, or what if I severely regret it? Now, everyone's different. I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I kind of had a little bit of that, and as soon as I bit the bullet and deleted my account, I've been off Facebook for like 15 months now. Not a single day has gone by that I've regretted it. Not a single one.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. The annoying thing is so I do not pretty much ever, maybe like once every couple weeks, I don't log into my personal Facebook page at all. If I'm to scroll through the news feed, it is on my Jade and Jesse page, which is then it just shows me like entertainment news and stuff like that. Which I share that to the Jade and Jesse page just so it's like, well, okay, you're posting something today, because otherwise, like, if I'm not posting a video that day, then like a post probably won't go up on the Jade and Jesse page, and Facebook. Right. It's again. Just they respond to that shit. But anyway, but other than that, I don't go onto my personal Facebook page. I hardly ever honestly go on Twitter. That's the thing. Other than just to post about my videos coming out, and that's it. Like I post about it. I schedule a post about it, and I don't think about it again. Like. The only thing about that, though, is you can't schedule posts for TikTok, which is fucking stupid. Yeah,
I don't know why that's not a thing already.
Yeah, like I could schedule the video to go up on Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels at the same time. I could schedule the post to go out on Twitter. I can schedule all that. I can schedule a post to go up on the YouTube community page. I cannot schedule a video to go up on TikTok. Like, I guess to keep up with authenticity.
Oh yeah,
fucking
bullshit.
Anyway, but yeah, Facebook is
So Facebook, and one of the big reasons I came off Facebook is I think the biggest thing for me was seeing how Facebook affects the behavior of otherwise reasonable, rational, sane people. The amount of arguments that I, through my time on Facebook, got into in the comment section, and the amount of things I've seen other people say in comment sections on that platform, it just absolutely baffles me. It's so fucking stupid. And I think to myself, the way that people talk to each other, the way that people act, in these, on comment section, people always say, oh, you would never say half the stuff you say behind the screen in real life, right? That's true, but it's not even just because of like the bravery that you get through the anonymity of it. Yeah. It's also that I feel like half the shit that people argue about on Facebook and social media in general, in real life, you just wouldn't be bothered to argue about. Like, you just think this is not worth my time, and yet for some reason, and it's really, really fascinating to me. when it comes to social media, you just that thought process of, is this worth my time to argue about, doesn't occur. It's so easy to overlook that.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, what is it about social media platforms that almost programs people to waste so much time? Like, why do they think it's such a worthwhile endeavor to talk about half the shit that they argue about online that they wouldn't in real life? Like, do they think that it's not real? Like, do they think that, well, this isn't the real, this is online, therefore this isn't going to have any consequences, or this doesn't really count as, it's almost like you're thinking, well, this isn't a real discussion, therefore I'm not wasting any real time. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. I really think that it's just people, because they think it's, that I don't think people really, even if they think they do, they don't really make the connection that, you know, yes, you're just typing it into your phone or your computer and you're just sending it off into the ether. But, you know, those are real people on the other end of that. They will feel a type of way about it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. There has been so many instances where that has become real, where people have, you know, found out where people live, and they have.
Yeah, doxing is a real problem. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, so I just, I'm with you on that. I don't understand the point of it. Like, and that's the thing. I've been guilty of it in the past as well. Like. You know, there was a time, like when COVID first started happening and everything, and the vaccines were first coming out. You know, my one of my family members, she wasn't too big on the fact that, you know, that the vaccine didn't have much research behind it, in her opinion, or whatever. That was, you know, that part's neither here nor there. But I basically posted on my Facebook and my Instagram that I'd got my first vaccine, and she made a comment on it. I can't remember exactly what it was, but to me, because it was just in text form, you can't tell the tone of what people really mean, and
that's another thing. Yeah,
I misinterpreted it to her being kind of sarcastic, and like me being kind of a sheep and a follower and whatever, and I misconstrued it, and, you know, it turned into kind of an argument and whatever. And, you know, I see now in hindsight that you know, I probably should have thought about it more. But, you know, I took it at face value, and when you read something for the first time, you know, however you process it in your head is just, it's what it is now, you know.
Yeah, but do you know what's really interesting to me though, Jaden, is on that exact point. Is that you would think that having to type out your response online would dissuade people from, is that a word?
I don't.
I'm having a moment right now.
I think know.
Dissuade.
Yeah, let's just look. Or
it is a word.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, there we go.
Word of the day. Dissuade.
Dissuade, the opposite of persuade. To
Again.
Prevent to prevent, hinder someone from doing or saying something.
Again, thank you, Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, you would think that having to type out these responses would dissuade you from saying things that you might regret later, because it takes more time to write it out and you have more time to think about it, whereas in real life you can just blurt something out. But I feel like the exact opposite is the case. I feel like people are much more careful about what they say in face to face than they are online, because even though it's much easier and quicker to get your point across, you also have a fist in front of you.
Yes.
So yeah, you have like you said, you have a real person with real genuine emotions, and if those consequences, while it's quicker and easier to say what you want to say in person, it's also quicker and easier to face consequences in real life than it is online. So
exactly. And I mean, the thing is, like, there's something to be said about the way that, like, so there's multiple ways that things can be said in different tones. Like, if you were to say, there's a difference between, like, you fucker and you fucker kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you just type out you fucker, they could just read that as like, you're being aggressive, you're trying to fight, like, it's just, it's for the fact that social media, it is such an inefficient way to socialize.
It really is. I 100% agree with you there, and it's really interesting. Like, recently, my wife was saying to me, I think that you're probably going to struggle because you've estranged yourself from your friends' network since you came off Facebook. And I was like, yeah, but the truth is that, like, less than 10% of the people I was friends with on Facebook were actual friends that I would even consider getting to know any further beyond their Facebook profile in real life.
Oh yeah.
Right? But yeah, you're right there. I don't think there's anything social about social media for the most part, and
well, the illusion of socializing.
Yeah, I think going back to my original question for this episode, like, has it been a net good or a net bad? If I had to summarize my answer, I would say, generally speaking, it's been a net bad. I think that it has done wonders for the general increase in interconnectivity, right, across the world, and I think you can make a very reasonable argument, a very strong argument, that it's helped people connect in ways that were completely unprecedented, and I think that in general is a good thing. But then it's a good thing that can be used for bad purposes, right?
Yeah.
And doxing and all those other things aside, if we put aside what it can be, the negative things that people can use it for towards other people, again, going back to what I was saying about TikTok, in a similar vein, I think that generally speaking, social media has been very unhealthy for people.
Yes.
In terms, because it requires you to be glued to a device. It requires you to be glued to a device, and also it gives you all the information, and not even necessarily trustworthy or healthy information, that you could ever possibly want at your fingertips. And I think that there's something to be said for sometimes a little bit of deprivation. Sometimes having to want or need for stuff isn't always necessarily the worst thing, because it allows your brain the chance to reset and think, okay, I don't necessarily have immediate access to this. Do I really need to go and check my news feed? Do I really need to go and doom scroll? Do I really need to reply to that comment? You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, but then at the same time, the way I feel about that, so there was something you said during that where you said about how, it can be a good thing, but it's also used for bad. But I mean, that's the thing. That could be with anything, to be honest, though. If I could play devil's advocate.
Be for anything, but I see your point, but the point I would make again is going back to what I just said. It's not just the potential harm that it can do, but it's how easily accessible it is to do that harm.
Yes. I mean,
whereas if I wanted to go, if I was hellbent on destroying the reputation of somebody off social media, it would take more effort to do so.
Yeah.
Than if I just have Facebook at my fingertips.
Absolutely. But literally, just so I 100% agree with you, but I just want to say, just to play devil's advocate. I mean, like this. So I have a TV remote right here. Okay, does some great things. Turns on the TV. Okay, has Netflix, YouTube, whatever. Okay, I could also use this to beat someone over the head. All right,
you could.
It's a great,
and I guess
it's a great thing, but also it could be used for bad. I mean,
yeah, it can be. It can be. God, we're getting a little bit philosophical now.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yes. We can probably continue this in another episode as well, because
and that's the thing. But again, I feel like there's still a certain degree of damage limitation that occurs there, because you are one person with one remote, and there's so much you can do. There's only so much you can do. There's only so much beating you can do before you get found and found out, and someone puts a stop to it, right? Yeah. Again, I feel with just because of the sheer interconnectivity that social media allows, the potential of not just the speed at which someone can access social media and use that as a tool for harm, but also how widespread that can become. Yeah. When you couple the how widespread the negative effects can be with how quickly it can be accessed, I feel like that's a really deadly combination.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is something that is, in my opinion, I think it's a combination that's almost pretty unique to social media and the internet as a whole.
Absolutely. Well, that's the thing. Everything now is just so much different to what it was before the internet came along. Everything is just way too accessible now. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is definitely more bad than good.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on it.
Yes. In the comments below.
Comment. What social media do you use? Have you had mostly negative or positive experiences? I'd be really curious to get everyone's perspective on that.
And do you ever think to beat somebody with a remote? I have before too.
And what's your go-to weapon of choice if you wanted to bludgeon someone to death?
Usually it is. Well, let me see. I'm trying to think of something on my desk right now. I'm gonna go with an aftershave bottle. I don't know.
Interesting.
Hey, it could do some damage. I don't know. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Okay.
You just love fighting? Do you love fighting or do you fight love?
Well, sides point to the fact that I fight love because I'm still alone. But anyway.
Jesus.
Okay.
We need an overlay there. You need to add an overlay in for something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do work your editing magic.
Yeah, I will. I'll make myself look even sadder.
Let's wait to end on a positive note.
Yes, you know what? As a juxtaposition, I may even just put some sunshine and just some birds singing around me while I look like I'm just crying.
Yeah, careful you don't get sued for copyright. Make sure you strictly use something from the YouTube sound library and not the TikTok content library. You don't want anyone coming after you.
I'm gonna use a Marvin Gaye bass line.
Oh, Jesus. You'd be destitute in a week.
Oh, sorry guys, this is my last episode.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna cut it there, guys. I think a little bit of a shorter one this week, like I said, but we should be back to regular episode length next time. But yes,
Joe is a social butterfly.
Hey. Anyway,
I'm kidding.
I appreciate your time talking about this. I know it's an opinion I got a lot of very strong, or it's a topic I got a lot of very strong opinions on. So it's always good to have a discussion.
Yeah, of course, man. Thank you for bringing this topic. It's very interesting. I really think we should do a part 2 on this for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think part 2 would be very much in order. I mean, we just kind of scratched the surface. I think with all what we could talk about here. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. Okay. Well. Thank you to anyone who listens for listening. Jaden, you have anything you want to say before we wrap up?
I just want to say that be careful on social media and just use it wisely, or don't use it at all if you can help it.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Except alcohol.
Except alcohol. Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Hey, you read my mind. Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks again to the listeners. We will be most likely do a part 2 for this, but in the meantime, everybody stay safe and take care.